I'm Paul Lindsay. Let's talk. To begin the program today, I want to go back a little ways just before our radio station that I just previously was with, WGTK in Greenville, South Carolina, just before we were to leave. Our last day was September 29th, 2023. But prior to that happening, I was on each Saturday morning what we call board opping. I was running the board for a live program that had aired on WGTK for a number of years. It was hosted by Mike Miller, and we discussed my leaving when we actually pretty much made the announcement official. So here's Mike Miller opening his program up and talking with me.
Good morning and welcome to Talking Money. Just a minute, my headset's so hot here I can hear myself. Okay, live radio, that's what's going on today. So, welcome back to Talking Money. For those of you who listened last week, you heard that, of course, it was on the TV, so it's no surprise that WGTK has been sold, and it'll be changing formats at the end of October. So Talking Money's last live program will be on October 28th. So this is 6 and counting. So we have six programs left. And the things have been a little crazy over here at the station, but we'll stick with you as long as we can. But I would like to get feedback from the listeners. Some of you listen via podcast, so you won't hear this for a while, however long it takes you to listen to each time we post these programs on Talking Money Radio and your favorite podcast locations. But we've got these 6 left, so I would like for you to let me know, man, if this is something you would like to continue hearing as a podcast, or you just had enough of me for 17 years and are ready to move on to somebody else. That's fine, too. I don't have any desire. I won't be coming in on Saturday mornings, but I can certainly do something during the week that is a shorter version of it and maybe one topic at a time or something. But I'm not doing it for the money. So if you want, I love to educate those, and I love to keep people from making mistakes, things that they shouldn't be doing, and also try to steer you in the right direction if at all possible. So you can send comments. Of course, you can text right now, 877-235-9405 if you want to text something to me, or give me a call. Love to have you on the program. Of course, we're here to always answer your questions live, and the best way to get me is to call in those at that number, 877-235-9405, or send an email to mike@talkingmoneyradio.com. And when you send it there, of course, it can be a question, and even beyond the 6 weeks, I'll be still trying to answer questions. But love to hear your comments, pros or cons about Talking Money. This is almost 17 years that I've finished doing Talking Money pretty much every Saturday live, and it's been a real good journey for me. And part of that journey has included Paul Lindsay, who is has been my producer now for the last roughly 5 years or so.
Well, it's probably been 6.
6 years, okay. Yeah. I said or so.
Yeah, well, you did. Yeah, you qualified it.
So, and this is his last Saturday with me. So I've thoroughly enjoyed having Paul on the other side of the glass with me. He's answered your calls.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know if you're allowed to make any party words, but I know it'll be your last time with us. Angela's going to take over for the final 5 times, but you'll be heading off doing other things.
Yeah, I got some family commitments for the weekend. Of course, as you know, I have 3 kids and 2 grandkids. So
all I see postings on is the grandkids. I never see postings on your kids, Paul.
Yeah, well, they have their own pages.
Yeah, so you're normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you could call it normal, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. We have had such a journey, and I've learned a lot.
Good.
So
the times you're able to pay attention over there when you're not doing something else.
Yeah, when I'm not handling calls or computer issues or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank you publicly for the efforts coming in on Saturday mornings. I know they pay you a little bit, but it's still nice to have you coming in on Saturday morning to help. That's what makes it a potential live program, because if there's not somebody here, you can't do live. I've checked with other stations on weekends trying to even syndicate this some on other Saturdays, but they don't have anybody in the studio on Saturdays, so they can't do a live program. So we've been somewhat limited on that, but we've got the podcast, and so anybody can go to that.
Certainly. To
TalkingMoneyRadio.com. But anyway, thank you, Paul. I appreciate your long-time service.
It's been my joy.
And as you can see, it was our last Saturday at WGTK, basically pushing the buttons and talking with Mike. It was a great joy to be able to do that broadcast and to do the others that were there originally when I started. There were, I forget how many programs, but I was going in. The first live program when I first started was as early as 7 a.m. We had one at 7, one at 8, or recorded one at 9. Then we came back at 10 with Mike's program. We had an 11 o'clock live program, and then one at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So Saturday was a busy day at WGTK when I first started there. And as of when we did that recording you just heard with Mike, was down to the one live program. That was the only one left. And it was a lot of fun. I, of course, if you heard our previous podcast, you probably noticed that I started with an interest in radio as early as when I was just a small child, going to that live remote broadcast. My first paid job in radio was at the age of 15 at WCKI in Greer, and then moved on later on to WSJW in Woodruff. Of course, they have different call letters now. After WSJW, went to WBBR in Travelers Rest. They changed call letters later on and are no longer even on the air. There's no radio station in Travelers Rest now. And then moved on to WELP in Easley and played gospel music on the radio there for quite some time until they took the AM station off the air. They kept the FM on, which was 103.9. And it was a urban contemporary format at that time. And we moved on to Anderson, spent 14 years at WRIX in Anderson. I eventually became the station manager. Just had a wonderful time in Anderson. What a memory I have of Anderson. We did so many awesome things there. And then after they sold the radio station down there, another sale. They sent us out the door, and we moved on, did a short couple of 3 weeks filling in at WORD Radio, a news talk station in Greenville. At that time, it was on 1330 and 910, only on AM. They are, of course, on FM now, on, I believe, 98.9. When I was there, we had the privilege of doing news and also did some traffic reporting for what was then known as Metro Networks. It was a great time. Moved on from there. I was hired by Wilkins Communications, and I took over management of their radio station in Augusta, WFAM, and was there from January until I think it was about September. Then I moved to one of their sister stations, which happened to be WELP, and went back there my second time at WELP, but then instead of it being a music format, it was a preaching-teaching format. So I was there from September of, that would have been '06, until December 1st, 2008. So after that, we were out of radio for quite a while, and then was called in to Well, actually, what happened, I contacted Joey Hudson, who at that time was the general manager at WGTK, wanted to sit in on his program just to kind of scratch the itch of wanting to be in radio, and sat in his program. Before I left, after we talked for about an hour after his program, which at that time was on in the afternoon, we talked for a while, and I was telling him, well, I should let you go home. So as I was about to leave, he asked me, have you considered getting back into radio? Well, when you ask a radio person who has not been in radio for a long time that question, of course, the answer is going to be yes. So I told him yes. So after about a month or so, we got back together, and I began learning their system at WGTK, and as you might know, the rest is history. Our last day there was September 29th, 2023. Yes, I do hope to get back into radio, but we'll see how that goes. But in the interim, we'll have this podcast and be able to talk with you about various and sundry things, and hopefully those items will be of interest to you. If you would like to reach out to me, you can do that at paullindsaymedia@gmail.com. That's PAULLINDSAY media@gmail.com. paullindsaymedia@gmail.com. I look to hear from you.